I don't know why I would ever think this, but when you first set this up, I thought that you were going to be like, here's where you and Vincent van Gogh overlap artistically.
Unappreciated geniuses.
Unappreciated geniuses. And you were just like, he liked fat bitches. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is what I just did. Welcome back, airheads. It's time once again for a stirring, I say, rendition of Puttin on Airs. I don't know. I say that, but we haven't done it yet, so I don't know what kind of rendition it's going to be. I just trust us to stir. We're both some stirring ass fools over here in the virtual airhead studios. I'm Trae. That's the CHO. It's time. Fancy talk with two dipshits. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, and you just reminded me of when Conan used to open every show by saying, "We have a horrible show for you tonight, possibly the worst show of all time." And
I always loved the way Conan handled all that shit. Like I remember one time I remember the sketch even. He had a sketch that bombed, and the only reason I remember it is because of how he handled it afterwards. After the sketch clearly bombed for the audience and for national TV, he goes, if you'd like a written copy of that sketch or an apology, please forward your request to. And it's
dude, it might just be because it's my generation. Like I grew up with Leno because of my dad. He was and the reason my dad was a Leno guy was not because he liked Leno. It's because he was a Tonight Show guy and he stayed with it. Like that was a lot of people did that. It's like,
my dad was Johnny, a counterculture type of dude, so he was always
Letterman,
and then later Conan, but definitely not Leno. But I respect the Tonight Show.
My dad, his whole thing was like, I watched the Tonight Show, and Johnny Carson has passed it on to Leno, so I will continue to watch the Tonight Show. Now, when I went over to other friends' house, they would be Letterman people, and I quickly realized, like, oh, this is my thing. And so then I would watch Letterman, but then Conan came along and like, oh my God, like that cemented, like so much of my comedy comes from having watched Conan. And I always, for a long time, like, you know, Johnny Carson, it's like goes with that. So it's all Johnny's the best. And it's like, really, it's like he was just the first big one. I mean, I know there were Jack Parr and all those before him, but I always said like, no, Letterman was the best. But the older I get and the more I look back on it and the fact that he's still doing it in some form and at a very high level, dude, I kind of think that Conan is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, some form. He just hosted a goddamn Oscars.
But I'm saying like I'm saying he doesn't have a late night show anymore.
Yeah, but he's got podcasts. So he's still talking to people.
He still does the same. I truly believe, and again, it's my age showing, but like I genuinely believe that there's never been anyone do it better because he is the only person who, when something didn't go well, could make it be funnier than if it did. You know what I mean?
Well, like, I feel like Letterman had some of that skill.
He did, and Carson could do it too. If Letterman had
like a shitty guest or something like that, he could make the segment hit by passive aggressively fucking with them or whatever, you know, kind of pointing out for the audience how this person don't hit or whatever. It's like he could salvage things.
Conan,
but Conan
performance wise though, Conan is like a cartoon come to life.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
He's never not. He's funny. It doesn't matter who he's talking to or what he's talking about. He can make his podcast is great.
And you can tell he's
always doing bits. Right? Yeah. He just likes to hit for. He likes comedy. He likes humor. He likes hitting. He likes hitting for people.
He hasn't needed to do anything for a long time, and he just super hits. By the way, I want to tell you this real quick story that has nothing to do with this podcast, but it's so funny, and I'll totally forget it by the time Well Read comes along. So Amber earlier went to it's called Camp Jordan. It's this big park in Chattanooga where they have softball games, and they've got all sorts of stuff, and there's a field to fly kites in and stuff like that. And she went there to take Bane to play around, but he fell asleep in the parking lot. So she was just sort of driving around the parking lot, right? And she says that there's a bunch of Shriners there, right? And I know you know what Shriners are, but just in case anybody doesn't, Shriners are these dudes who drive these little teeny tiny cars and they wear fez hats and they sell pecan logs for I don't know why. I don't know what they're. No one knows.
Some kind of charity thing, right?
No one knows.
It's one of those like it's like a fraternity for completely grown men,
right?
And also like I guess maybe a secret society. I'm doing that in quotes, but they got it's like there's the Shriners, there's like the Lions Club, there's Moose Lodges, there's Kiwanis or something like
Kiwanis, yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
I was a part of that as a child.
Shriners is one of them. I used to work in a banquet hall in Cookeville, so I interacted with all those groups. But yeah.
Well, anyways,
there were some Shriners there.
A bunch of Shriners, and Bane's asleep in the car. And Shriners are known for just driving around in their teeny tiny little clown cars and honking their horns. So Amber's already like,
now I did not know that, but I believe you though.
Yeah. And Amber's already like, God damn it, Bane's trying to sleep, but she's like, but whatever. It's not like they know that my son's in the car asleep. They're just honking their horns, whatever. Well, she keeps driving around, and all of a sudden, this fucking Shriner, this one Shriner is just on her ass, like right up against the back of her car. Like she can see it in the baby monitor and the thing. And he's just like clearly trying to get her attention. And she's like, geez, what? So she stops, and this fucking Shriner pulls his fat ass out of this fucking, because again, these are go-kart sized cars that are encapsulated with these
So every Shriner has what kind of car? You talking about those little smart car things?
They're like smaller.
But it's a car. What do they have? Custom made
cars
Shriner,
that they all maroon.
What is it, like a golf cart with a modification on it?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. They're teeny.
No
and
idea
they just go
Again, I believe you.
They drive around Walmart all the time. Like every time I go to Walmart, there's just Shriners out there just cutting brodies.
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot. Okay. Not on the road, in the parking lot.
Well, I didn't know if you meant in Walmart. I didn't know how small we were talking about.
No. In the Walmart parking lot, right? And so this Shriner is just on Amber's ass, and she's like, what the fuck? So she stops, right? And this Shriner comes up to her car, and apparently, and by the way, Amber's not been driving near the field where people fly their kites. She's been driving in the parking lot, and apparently one of their kites took a dive and went under Amber's car, and Amber was dragging the kite. And this Shriner gets out, and Amber rolls her window down and goes, what? And this Shriner gets an attitude, and he's just like, hey, you're dragging my kite. You've been dragging my kite for like a mile. And my wife, who I love more than anything, she goes, hey, my son is sleeping. Get back in your stupid goddamn car and shut the fuck up. Right?
Yeah.
And he did.
I bet he did.
And I was like, did you literally say
a mom with a sleeping baby scream shut the fuck up at you?
Yeah.
All 98.9% of people are going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and Amber don't do that thing that most people do where they tell you the thing that they wish they would have said. Like she said that. You know what I mean? Like she 100% brought this Shriner to his knees, and he got back in his little stupid fucking car and drove off. And then of course her screaming woke Bane up.
Dude, I did banquets for the Shriners and stuff, but this was always inside when I interacted with them. I didn't know about the cars, but you're right, dude. When you say tiny car, you're right. They're like fucking soapbox derby.
Pull it up.
Yeah, I'll pull it. Yeah, okay, hang on.
Yeah, pull it up.
Let's see here.
We see them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very small picture on an article.
Yeah, those things.
But yeah, dude, you said teeny. If y'all are only listening, I mean, it's like a. What do they call a Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels, like a Barbie,
like a little Jeep,
type
like
thing.
A toddler Jeep. Like that's how big we're working with here.
Bro, speaking of which, my nephew and my niece have a Barbie Jeep, and the boy has a John Deere, and they've got the normal just like Hot Wheels battery in them, but my fucking father-in-law went and got DeWalt batteries to put in them, and these motherfuckers go like 50 miles an hour now. And they're just fucking driving them through their backyard and just
so redneck, but in such an awesome way. That's great, fucking very rad. What kid wouldn't love that shit? So,
dude,
I was just trying to look up what. So first of all, apparently the Shriners are literally a spin-off of the Masons, the Freemasons. Yeah. I knew they were like in the same ballpark. I didn't know that they literally came from the Freemasons, but yeah, they started in 1870. They wanted to do Freemasons, but sillier, pretty much is what it amounts to. So they adopted an Arabian theme. Again, 1870, all the rage, all the rage, all that shit, mummies and stuff, anything over Middle Eastward, all the rage in the late 19th century. So they adopted an Arabian theme, and they named themselves the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, or Shriners for short. The famous fez comes from the original Arabian theme. But dude, you know, we've all heard, I think, like, of Shriners hospitals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they do good work.
Dude, they've it says the Shriners research on treatment for spinal cord injuries. They spend nearly $25 million on that. And it says they spend $1.6 million a day on their various hospitals that they have.
Yeah. Yeah, they do good work.
So, I mean, you know, that's pretty legit.
All from pecan log money.
Right. And it says, what about the little cars, though? This is an article from How Stuff Works, by the way. It says there's no big history or ritual behind it. They're purely for entertainment. Again, they founded the whole thing to be silly. Yeah. And they were like, you know what would be silly is if our fat asses put on fezzes and drove little Hot Wheels around everywhere.
And they're right.
Hit for people.
Yeah.
And they're right. That is very silly. It is now that I've seen them and know what you're talking about, it's way funnier that, like, somebody chased down Amber in one of those. I know, isn't that funny? That is truly absurd.
And Amber told him to fuck himself.
So I also had a thing that I wanted to run by you that doesn't have much to do with this, but it's like I'm doing that thing where it's like you either have an argument or disagreement with a friend. So with another friend, you just bring it up in hopes that friend will side with you.
Happened this weekend.
So and I know we don't do politics. I promise this is not going to get overtly political. It does involve the current government is all. But so like we're getting rid of DEI in this country, right? Uh-huh. The scourge of DEI. So at the
he's being facetious, by the way, in case this is your first time listening to the show.
Yeah, no, I love DEI. DEI hits me so hard. Yeah, the DEI bumper stickers and stuff. I hire exclusively DEI hires. I don't hire people.
I feel like our careers are based on DEI.
Yeah, in some regard. Yeah, I definitely didn't deserve it. So, that's a joke too. But I mean, that's not a joke about me not deserving it. It's a joke about people that it doesn't matter. Anyway, see, already, this is why politics. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you were right to do that. The National Institute of Health, okay, because of the thing they're doing with DEI, they've got a new computer program or whatever that scans all of their documentation and intra-office files and stuff for sensitive keywords, right? Mm-hmm. That they might want to eliminate. By the way,
sickle cell.
Well, so this happened at another government facility. I can't remember what, but the Air Force or something, they accidentally erased all mention of the Enola Gay from their history and website and database.
Which was the bomb
the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. But the plane was called Enola Gay. But
right. Which didn't mean that.
Right. But because gay is in the name, this program deleted all that shit. So anyway, this is a similar thing, but National Institutes of Health, and this is what I'm getting to. I'm going to tell you what some of the sensitive keywords are, and I want you to tell me what, if anything, about this pings you in any certain way. Keywords include abortion, obesity, and peanut allergies. Does anything about that seem off or weird to you? Because I made the case that one of these things was weird, and our mutual friend I was talking to did not understand what I was saying.
So abortion,
peanut allergies, and obesity.
I mean, peanut allergies what does one thing have to do with? They're omitting this from the Air Force?
No, I'm sorry. The Air Force was the Enola Gay thing. This is the National Institute of Health doing the same thing that the Air Force did. They're eliminating all DEI terms.
So they think that they're just assuming that peanut allergies aren't real. They're right. They're going anything peanut allergies. We're getting rid of that because that's not actually a thing.
Yes, potentially. Does that surprise you though?
With this current administration, nothing surprises me.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I feel like knowing the administration and their ideology, them wanting to get rid of everything related to abortion totally makes sense.
That checks out. Right? Obesity don't though.
Exactly. That's it. That's the thing.
That's
obesity
the base.
Makes no sense. It's the opposite of what you would think.
Right.
People I would think that these people would be like if they see someone say, obesity, that's actually a slur, right? You can't use obesity. That is woke.
That's super woke.
Like that's body positivity, anti-fat shaming, all that.
Right.
And that to these people, that's woke nonsense, right? So they wouldn't want to do that. So why is obesity part of this? Is it just because they know so many of their base and so many Americans in general are
obese?
Big old
By the way, I'm obese.
Like us, like me and you are. Yes, exactly.
I'm technically
obese. Always got to cover our bases.
Yeah,
like it's true.
I did the joke on stage. It only worked really during Christmas, but like I mentioned that I was fat, and people were like, "Oh, you're not fat," and I was like, "No, I am. Like you can't tell me I'm not because I looked at what the chart said behind the doctor's face, and like I'm 30 pounds over obese, and I was like, here's how obese I am. I weigh 30 pounds more than Tim Allen did in the movie The Santa Claus when he steps on the scale and looks down and goes, oh fuck, I might be Santa Claus. So don't tell me I'm not fat just because you're fatter. You know what I mean?
The standard has changed.
The standard has
changed.
The
fat version of the Overton window has shifted.
And obesity, and I'm sorry, I'm about to say a word here that you're not supposed to say, but I'm only saying it for the purposes, like, obesity is it's the same as the word retard, right? It's like, that was just a word that meant medically your brain don't hit. And obesity means your body don't hit. And then people just started using it for other reasons. And now everybody's...
But the thing is, you don't like...
No one ever says you're obese.
If you got a big fat fuck friend...
You call him a fat fuck.
Exactly. You call him a fat fuck. You call him wide load. You don't call him obese. Obese is still very much a medical term. I'm just saying that, like, so when people say, when I hear people try to say, like, oh, obesity, that's a slur or whatever, I'm like, no, it's not. It's a medical term. And I feel like, very surprisingly to me, this administration seemingly, by removing any mention of obesity, is like siding with the body positivity, anti-fat shaming people. I just thought that was weird.
That
you
is
probably
weird.
Already guessed. Our mutual friend was Smart Mark from Weekly Skews. This came up on there, and I was saying this to him. I was like, that don't make any sense. And he was like, what are you talking about? But I think he got it by the end, but I just thought, I started, as I often do, I started thinking, like, what is it?
That is woke. That's woke.
Like right.
It's like Lizzo lobbied for it. That's right. Something Lizzo would lobby
for it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So to come out of this administration, it's weird. That's all I'm saying.
I got to tell you, the only slurs, in my opinion, that can even be considered slurs is for things that you can't help. You know what I mean? Like being black.
There you go.
No, I'm just saying being black.
I know, but I'm saying, you know how this goes. We've done this before. We've pissed people off.
If you got a thyroid condition, I'm not talking about you. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
I'm not talking about you. Of course, there's some unfortunate fat fucks that are just going to be fat fucks forever. But I'll go ahead and tell you right now, there is a way higher percentage of fat fucks who just lean very heavily on I've got a thyroid condition. And but you can't do that as a black person. You know what I mean? You can't like there's a slur, like if you, I don't know, like frankly, you know what I can't help? Being bald. No one gives a shit about calling me baldy. Oh, look at old ring bald over there. And by the way, I don't give a shit, but I'm saying, like, that's a slur and I can't fucking help that. You can go jog and eat a carrot, you fucking gross bitch. Okay, you know what I mean? Right, like, listen. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. But I should have foreseen this. I know, again, anybody that's longtime fans of ours knows that we've gone down this path many, many times, and it never works, by the way. By works, I mean, when we say it's like, look, I was a fat kid. I've been fat off and on my whole life. Fat now. I'm fat now.
Right. Yeah, me too. I know.
Some of you are just fatter.
But it don't, that don't play. I've gotten very well written messages from people and stuff that have been like, look, I hear you. It's just, you guys talk about the fats and how much they don't hit and all that stuff.
No, I didn't say they don't hit.
I know you said you need a carrot, you big fat bitch. Isn't that what you said?
Gross bitch.
Anyway. So I'm just saying.
But I'm not talking about the people with thyroid issues. You know, dude, I have a fucking eating disorder. Like, I can't stop eating Doritos. And the only reason that I don't weigh 500 pounds, I walk 10 miles a day. Okay.
Yeah. No, me too. I'm the same way. I work out like every day that I'm not actively traveling, and that is the only reason I'm not massive. But I was just doing that. Where's my friend who agrees with me thing, and I just wanted to see if that would like stick with you, and eventually it did. Like, I get you. You were like, wait, that doesn't make sense. That's all I wanted to happen.
I had this thing happen this past weekend where me and my dad hung out, by the way, at my house till 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's a huge deal. Like, not to get sentimental, but like, I invited my dad over for the fight thinking he would just stay for the prelims. And he hung out till 1 o'clock in the morning, drinking beer, talking music with my friends and stuff like that. And Stevie Nicks got brought up, and I was talking about how, like, somebody brought up the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, and I was like, dude, the greatest beef of all time is just the existence of Fleetwood Mac, because every single goddamn record is just them doing diss tracks to each other while they're playing it but it's like, whatever.
Yeah, they are wild.
I put on Silver Springs, the live version that they did for Warner Brothers, where Stevie Nicks like just stares at Lindsey Buckingham and just sings the song to him, and he's just having to sit there like, God damn it, you know. But at the end, it's funny because that was her "Fuck You" song, and then he followed that up with his song he wrote about her, which was "You Can Go Your Own Way," which was way bigger of a hit for them. So he was like, fuck you, bitch. But anyways, I was talking about how I was like, you know, Stevie Nicks is one of the sexiest women of all time and one of the most desirable women of all time. And my buddy Robbie was like, what are you talking about? She's not hot. And I was like, okay, well, it's fine that you don't think she's hot, but like, I just need you to know that, like, it is known that Stevie Nicks, her aura, everything about her, like, she's considered a sexual icon, and he just wasn't having it. Right. Like, he just wasn't having it. And I had to get everybody in there to be like, will you fucking tell this motherfucker? Like, and I was like telling him, I was like, dude, like, I'm not, again, you can be attracted to whoever you want, but you can't tell me I'm wrong in the sense that for millions of men, Stevie Nicks is the pinnacle of sexuality. And it was a similar thing where, like, I'm arguing with a person. I'm like, I need to get you all over here because you know that I'm fucking right. Right. And I am right.
One of the most egregious examples of that I can remember in my life was actually, it was Drew. Drew was right about a thing, by the way. Drew, like, we were all in a bar. We were all in a bar in New York or whatever. And Drew had to come. Drew like came and grabbed me. He was like, will you come over for a second? And he was talking to some dude, and he was like, I hadn't been involved in their conversation at all. And he was like, Trae, what are like the top stereotypes you think of when you think of Boston? You know? And I was like, I was like racist, Irish, whatever. And he like cut me off, and he was like, fucking see, right?
Yeah,
right. And this other dude who was a brown guy born and raised in Boston had gotten into it with Drew because he was like,
he deaf?
He mentioned something about, I know. Basically, Drew was from the South. And this dude was talking about how racist the South is, and Drew was like, "Well, you're from Boston, bro." And this guy was like, "We're not racist." And
Boston bout got us beat.
And Drew's whole thing was like, "Listen, it became an argument. It's like, whatever, you're from there, I'm not from there, but at the very least, people think that it's racist. Right.
It's the general consensus,
which is an even wilder stance to take on this guy's part, because he was like, "No, they don't." He's like, no one. It wasn't just him saying Boston's. It wasn't him saying like, I know everybody thinks Boston's racist, but we're really not. He was saying like,
no one thinks that.
People don't even think Boston is racist.
It's so insane.
And of course, and I get Drew's fucking losing his mind over it, which I would have been too.
Because Drew lived there.
I know, right? Drew went to law school.
But you don't even have to have lived there to know that.
You just know, right? Yeah. So he pulled me over, and again, I didn't even know the context of it. First thing I said was racist. This guy's like, "Oh, come on,
yeah, come on."
He's like, "How did you? What is this? Something you guys talk about?" You know? And I was like, "What are you?"
Yeah, we did a sketch about it actually.
And Drew told me what was happening, and I was like, "Buddy, again, you're a brown guy from there. I'm not going to tell you whether it is or is not racist there, but as far as do people think it is?" 100%. And it's one of the very top things that comes to anyone's mind when Boston comes up. And by the way, Boston rules. Love Boston.
Frankly,
there's plenty of other hidden things about it.
I love
but
Boston.
One of the first things people think, it's awesome.
And
but
also,
like people think it's racist, and I'm pretty sure that it is. In fact, racist.
It definitely is. And by the way, I'm very happy for that guy that he somehow has lived in Boston and never felt that way. That's great. I just think that he's lying. He's a liar. Or maybe it's just that they're just racist to black people. You know what I mean? Because like in the South, where I'm from, like I can tell you straight up, like we have several Indian owned gas stations, and I've never heard a single slur or bad word against any of those people, like ever. Like no one ever has been like, goddamn Indians run the gas. Like they don't, they're our best friends. They're cool. Well, so maybe it is just a like, what?
Well, maybe it. So right beside my wife's house in her parents' house, I mean, that she grew up in rural Tennessee, is this little country gas station that I fucking love. They got these chicken wings there that are off the chain.
Gas station chickens, what's up, boy?
And they got bought out. It was owned by this white dude. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was owned by this white dude for years and years. And they got bought out by like an Indian family or a group of Indians who own other gas stations in like the past 2 years. And it's literally right by her parents' house. So like her parents were being cool about it, but they were sharing multiple horror stories of things that had happened to those Indians in that gas station since they took it over in this country town. Meaning people just coming in there and be like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I believe
I ain't here for curry or a snake, get the fuck out of here or whatever.
Well,
like
I
just
believe
being super racist to these people's faces is what the stories I heard.
I believe you.
We had literally zero Indians in my hometown, so I can't speak to it. But
I certainly believe you. And like, Lord knows Chickamauga is a hotbed for some racist bullshit. But same situation, the gas station that I'm talking about was owned by white people and then sold to Indians. And I'm telling you, the transition was just like Indiana Jones picking up the rock and putting the sandbag down. Like nobody gave a fuck. And matter of fact, the dude that runs it, I'll shout him out, Raj. And if you're in Chickamauga, he just opened up a liquor store, Raj Liquors. It's great. He's a pillar of the community, man. Like everybody loves him. Like he's one of the most beloved dudes, sweetheart. His wife's a sweetheart. Like, and I hear stuff, you know what I mean? Like I hang out with all types of people. Never fucking once have I heard anyone say a bad word about this dude. But, black people, I've heard a lot of shit, so I don't know if maybe it's that, like maybe there's that disconnect.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, famous comedian Russell Peters, right? He's an Indian guy who grew up in Canada, like Toronto, Canada. And I've heard him talk multiple times about how insanely racist that was against Indians, but in Canada when he grew up there, but it's like, but I don't know what their dynamics are up there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
No idea.
Like, which is to say, it's like, white people, white kids, they're gonna find somebody to be racist against.
Of course,
if you guys are the main
in our
ones
nature
in any given neighborhood, you're gonna be the ones that catch hell. And that don't hit. But.
I don't think that like people. I don't think that kids are.
By the way, I reckon I shouldn't say this, but I just do think it's true objectively. I think that also it works the other way too.
Of course, it does.
If you're the only white kid, you're a little white trash kid.
Yeah.
And some Chris Rock used to have a bit about it.
Yeah.
Like if you see one white guy hanging out with a bunch of black dudes, he's like, you better fear that motherfucker because he had to do some wild.
That's Chappelle. Shit. That's Chappelle, not Chris Rock.
Oh, okay.
Either way, you're correct in the bit. But like, he had to do some wild shit to earn those black people's respect.
Yeah.
You're correct. And like, but I don't think it's like everybody goes like, oh, racism is inherent in people. And I don't believe that. I don't think it's racism is inherent. I think what is inherent is same hits, different don't hit. And just translates to racism. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
We need to take a break.
It's funny that I was accidentally racist in the middle of that by getting, two black comedians mixed up together. That's funny. But
but they're similar because they're both black.
Yeah, right, exactly. Both black, they do comedy. They're basically the same guy.
Same guy, yeah.
Huge fan of both of them, and that's so it just runs together in my head anyway. We'll take a break real quick. When we come back, I got a fun little update for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back right after this. Y'all, March Madness is a sacred time of yelling at the TV whilst recovering from elective surgery. If you, like thousands of other men, are overlapping a vasectomy recovery with nonstop basketball, get a bidet. You're going to need a gentle touch in the bathroom, and it's almost time to do my favorite dance of putting away the snowblower and getting out my lawnmower, only for it to dump a fresh 8 inches. And by the way, I'm from the South, so that doesn't really too much apply to me. But while I wait for the weather to not cut my face, I'm going to spring clean my life, starting in the bathroom. And listen, that extra hour of daylight that we just got, which is so good for my mental health, but so hard on the morning routine. If you, like me, take 20 minutes to do your business on the toilet at the best of times, you need to get a bidet. Tushy helps me elevate comfort in the bathroom while getting me out the door sooner. Y'all, we've been talking about this for a long time, and I mentioned the first time I ever used a bidet was at the Watergate Hotel, and I felt like just the fanciest little boy in all of Yorkshire. I thought, this is a thing that is exclusively for the rich. I will never be able to use one of these again. But then Tushy not only made them affordable, but better than that, they made them easy to install. And I'm not a man. Me and Trae, neither one of us are men. We're together half a man. So we're a fourth of a man each, I think, if that's how the math works. And by the way, our friend Caleb Simon told us this one time. He's like, here's why you should use a bidet. If you got poop on your arm, would you just wipe it off with a piece of paper? No, you would not do that. You would bare minimum put water on it, right? So why are you doing that to your beehole? And by the way, it's easier than you thought. We encourage you to check this out. I'm telling you, you're never going to feel cleaner. And also, I mean, look, it feels nice. Okay, let's not act like it don't. Trae, tell them more about Tushy.
Well, I will. Tushy is the modern bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and your bottom health for the rest of your life. And Aura is the luxury bidet seat that turns toilet time into La Dolce Vita, baby.
Ooh.
Aura is Tushy's brand new electric bidet. It's got an auto-open lid and seat, instant warm water that never runs cold, and UV sterilization for next-level hygiene. Aura by Tushy easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. Look out, Japan. We're finally coming for you on the fancy turlet front. Tushy.
Finally coming for Japan.
Leading the way, Tushy is. Japan shaking in their boot, their clean butthole boots over there, because they've had fancy turlets for a while, and Tushy says, no more. It's time for America to step up, and I agree with them. Instead of wiping endlessly with toilet paper, Tushy pristinely removes 99% of bacteria while protecting your natural skin barrier, thanks to only one natural ingredient. You know it, you love it, fresh water, baby. And this is the biggest part. Like Joe said, we ain't men, we don't know how to do stuff. Installation, it couldn't be simpler. Takes like 10 minutes. Anybody can do it. You can get it done, knock it out, and get a clean butthole. All right. Reclaim your comfort zone in the bathroom. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the code POA at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with the promo code POA. Tushy, clean your booty hole.
Clean your booty hole. Make it hit. Make that booty hole hit.
Let's talk about jeans for a second. Me and Cho, we come from a jeans-loving people. Jeans is part of our cultural identity. We F's with jeans. Yes, we do. And I always wear jeans. As a matter of fact, I almost exclusively wear jeans. If I'm wearing long pants, it's jeans. I ain't got no slacks or khakis or pantaloons.
Pleated BS.
None of that stuff. I'm a jeans-wearing fool. All right. And so I know, I got my particulars about jeans and stuff. Well, I recently got a pair of jeans from ThePerfectJean. And I'm telling you, they're like, these are the unicorn of jeans. They're one of one. It's true. I was skeptical, honestly, when they showed up. Because again, I know what kind of jeans I like. And in fact, I've said it before, but it's true. I wear one pair. I have a pair of jeans that I like, and I just wear them until they're gone. I wear them until the butthole falls out.
So you can blow them away like dandelions in the wind.
Yeah, till I can Thanos snap them myself and they just drift away as dust. That's what I do with jeans that hit for me. Well, I already had a pair of jeans that hit for me when I got my pair of The Perfect jeans, and I immediately switched, and I'm currently wearing my Perfect jeans in them exclusively. And then I'll tell you why. It's because they fit like a dream. They look great, look like regular hitting blue jeans. And at the same time, they're so comfy. It ain't even like wearing pants. At the very least, it's like wearing yoga pants or sweatpants or something. It's like they look like jeans, but they do not feel like. They look like the most comfortable, they feel like the most comfortable pants you can imagine while looking like a hidden pair of blue jeans, because that's what they are. Right. In case you ain't figured it out by now, I mean, this is an ad. And the Perfect Jean, the people, they suggested I say all this, but I would have said it anyway because it's the truth. I swear to God. I mean, if you've seen me on the road recently, you've probably, some of y'all may have noticed I've been wearing the same jeans. That's from the Perfect Jean, those jeans that I'm wearing. All right. So picture this. 700,000 pairs of nuts rescued from bad jeans. And that's plus 2 nuts. That's my nuts. Add to that. So 700,002 nuts rescued from bad jeans. The hero is the perfect jean. You can say goodbye to stiff cardboard denim and hello to comfort, baby. They fit like they were custom made. They stretch like you wouldn't believe, and they look fantastic. The fabric is as soft as a baby's butt. I mean, obviously, no babies were harmed in the making of perfect. Matter of fact, no babies are even involved, but it's just, you get the metaphor. They're durable enough to survive her pulling them down daily. You know what that means? Wiener stuff. The Perfect Jean also has a seriously massive range of sizes. They got 6 fits. You can get from skinny all the way to thick. Waist sizes from 26 to 50 and lengths from 26 to 38. So it don't matter if you're a short king, a thick daddy, or somewhere in between, you can find the perfect fit for the body that you are rocking. And for a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at ThePerfectJean.nyc, or you can just Google The Perfect Jean and you'll find it. And then use the code POA15 for 15% off. Cho, tell them a little bit more.
Dude, you mentioned it earlier. I've literally slept in these jeans, and not on purpose. I just kind of forgot that I was wearing them. And I come from the big butted and big nutted variety, so it's very hard for me to find jeans, even if they fit in the waist and the length. Like, oftentimes, right in the nuts and the butts, it just don't really hit for me. But these are great. Like Trae said, it's denim so stretchy that it's like yoga ready, but you look great. Like, I look amazing. I've never been a dark jean person, but my wife insisted I get them. I get more compliments on these jeans than anything. Also, I gave up on skinny jeans a while back because I became a dad. The boot cut is where it's at. And I'm just, like I said, such a jean guy. I'll never go back. I mean, when I put them on, I don't feel like I'm wearing jeans. I feel like I could run a mile in these things. And so once again, I got to tell you, for a limited time, our listeners are going to get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at ThePerfectJean.nyc, or Google The Perfect Jean and use code POA15 for 15% off. That's 15% off for new customers at ThePerfectJean.nyc with promo code POA15. And after you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them, and please support our show and tell them we sent you. And by the way, fuck your khakis. Fuck them. And get the perfect jean, because they are perfect.
That's right. All right, and we're back. Let me try to get this at the very beginning of the video here. This is a video, but there's audio to it. So this guy is a POA, I would say mainstay, but definitely a legend. One of the earliest episodes of POA, we sung this guy's praises. We took in his greatest work. And he has since regrettably passed away. That's right. I know
exactly who you're talking about.
This interview was done with this man like right before he passed away a few weeks ago. And I'm talking, of course, about legendary Australian and enjoyer of succulent Chinese meals. Jack Carlson is his name. I mean, in fact, Cho once did a kind of a deep dive into this guy on a subsequent episode, saying like, this is what this guy's life was.
Yeah, go check that out in the archives.
So yeah, that's the guy. It's like, this is democracy manifest. Get your hands off my penis. Yeah. So y'all know the video we're talking about, legendary internet video, and real big over here on POA. So this is an interview with this guy, which I felt added a very funny and important piece of context to that whole situation.
Yeah.
Which had heretofore been absent.
Right.
So, Joe, if you can't hear this, tell me immediately and I'll fix it. If you can't hear it, don't say nothing. All right, here we go. All right, can you see it? You ready?
Uh-huh.
All right.
It's about the time when you made the legendary video, 1991.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
They got me. I was drilling into a safe.
What?
drilling. Put me note in.
Wait, we're going to rewind a lot here.
That chap over there, get your hand off my penis!
Were you a bank robber?
No, I've never ever run into a bank or anything like that. I just go in the middle of the night, open a safe.
Yeah,
Rubbish around in with guns, things like that.
well, what did you refer to yourself as?
Just a battler, doing the best I reckon that I was a criminal or something or other.
You were a criminal.
I haven't broken the law for 50 years or something, or 30 years.
All right. So apparently
I'm not a bank robber. I just drilled into a safe.
safe now and then in the middle of the night. What is that
Bank
about?
robbers
That's
come in with guns.
the
What are you
same
talking
thing.
about?
Yes. Yeah, like
Man,
I just thought that was absolutely fucking hilarious because I feel like it's just wild to me, it's wild that in at least 20 years of internet fame or whatever, that has never come up because, like, you know, I remember when we first watched it, we talked about it and we was like, okay, you know, this dude was like, it's public intoxication or something.
Of course.
He's drunk in this restaurant. That's what I feel like you just automatically assume is happening. He's drunk in a restaurant and he gets pulled out of it and he's fucking upset. And that makes it, that version of it is still funny, but finding out that the reason he was being arrested was because he was literally robbing a fucking bank
he had
at
a
the time.
warrant out.
He was drilling into a safe to put explosives in it. And that's the context of them taking him away, knowing that and thinking about his response to it and everything.
He has
so much funnier, dude.
And he has the wherewithal when that is all happening to go, what is the charge?
Right,
Eating a meal, succulent Chinese. Like, that's gotta be, he's got to be top 5 funniest human beings in history that didn't do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Like you said, the wherewithal and the balls and the audacity and everything.
Huge CHO.
Absolute CHO to just be like, what is the meaning of this? You know, after getting caught red-handed,
knowing exactly the
blow
meaning
up a bank vault or whatever,
knowing exactly the meaning
of
this.
You know the meaning of this. You know the entire meaning of all this. Fucking Chinese food apparently had nothing to do with it. You know, like fucking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's possible, I guess, that he just said he was in the middle of drilling into a safe. I was going to say, like, maybe they somehow found out he attempted to rob a bank and then they got him while he was eating noodles, but that's not how he presented it.
No,
right?
And the best
part,
part,
like, no, I was drilling into a safe to put me gelignite in.
The best part is he goes, I haven't committed a crime in 50 years. And then he did the math in his head and he was like, 30 years.
30 years. Which, like, dude, 50 to 30 when you're 80 or whatever he was is like understandable, but 50 to 30 is still it's 20 goddamn years. It's 2 decades. That's a lot. It's a big difference.
You know what really sucks is that, like, I bet we could have had him on this show.
I agree.
And that's
still alive.
That's a real, because, like, you know, we've thrown out, like, not like, you know, Derek Guy. I just messaged him. He's like, yeah, I'll come on. Like, a lot of people don't understand. They're like, how'd you get that person on your podcast? I'm like, I asked. And they did, because now that you can just sit in front of your computer, and it's really unfortunate that we didn't have that guy. And this also reminds me once again that I still have not put out my interview with Joe Exotic.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing.
We need to just have him on this show and do a brand new interview.
It's funnier to me now if it becomes one of those like running jokes like Matt Damon on Jimmy Kimmel or that type of thing, where it's like you keep talking about it, but you never ever put it out, because also at a certain point, like,
he gonna die.
Well, also, yes, but at a certain point, with you talking about it on the show and stuff, like, it's not going to
live up
to hit. Yeah, no matter what you say. By the way, because we're doing Well Read without Drew, did we talk about that on Well Read or on here? Do people even know what we're talking about?
Well Read, yeah.
So yeah, okay. On Cho interviewed Joe Exotic from his jail cell,
from prison,
like months ago at this point, and then it just literally never did anything with it. He says because he keeps forgetting.
And I paid $200 to do it too.
Right? Yeah, for the privilege.
I donate. It wasn't. I didn't give him $200. I paid $200 to his legal fee which makes me culpable. Like that, I think some people were like, "You piece of shit! Like, why would you do that?" And like, the answer is that I wanted to talk to Joe Exotic, and that's what it cost, and I had $200.
Also, dude, you're really just all you're doing is just paying that lawyer's billing for however many hours. Meaning, like, you are not. You ain't changing shit.
Of course not. Of course not.
Donating $200 to his legal fund. I mean, again, is it a bad look? Sure, but like,
but I don't give a fuck
doing anything. Yeah, right.
Like, I'm
sorry. It isn't going to matter. $200 to that legal fund is not going to make
not going to matter
difference.
At all. And like, I, not to sound elitist, but like, I got $200 to just do that, and I wanted to talk to the fucking guy. Like, it was, even if I don't put it out, it was genuinely worth $200 to talk to the guy that we were so enthralled with for months, and have a normal conversation with him and have him be like, and it was really, it's fucked up how people can like, when you talk to a person, you read all you want about somebody and you hear all these things, but when you talk to a person, it's real easy to be sympathetic. When you actually have a conversation with somebody, and he did all that shit, whatever. But like, I left that interview going like, man, I can see how I could defend that guy or someone,
Again, I don't know if it was well read or on here, but we talked before recently about how you and I are both that type of person where it's like again,
you good to me.
I went a very long time before I would say anything bad about JD Vance.
Me too. Me too.
Again, not to get back, because I knew, because he had come to a show and we went to a bar and we hung out with him. And for a long time, I was, even when he was like on his rise for a long time, I was like, listen, JD's all right. Listen, do I agree with everything he says? No, but he's all right.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, like I did that for a long time, and I don't remember what the bridge finally, where the line was that he finally crossed or whatever for me, but I just, I don't anymore, but it took me a long time because I'm, like you said, I'm just that way. And it's like, that makes me and you both like naive and shit.
You're very naive.
It makes us like childish. Like,
it's very childish.
That's not the way you should be.
No,
as an adult,
because
but that is how
anybody can just be good to you.
Right. If I meet if I meet a person and they are cool to me, then that's, that's how I'm always like, well, hey, they're not so bad.
Ron Jeremy was really cool to us.
Yes, yeah, he came to the show too.
And by the way, before we knew, but like, you shouldn't base your life. Like, I hear people say all the time, it's like, I treat people the way that they treat me. And that's good to a degree until they do some very egregious, horrible shit. And then you go, anyone can be nice in one conversation and make you like them. Especially when they're a sociopath, which clearly JD is. By the way, I got whiskey drunk as fuck and sent him a DM.
Really?
Because me and him have like a history of DM. Like on Twitter, we have a history of DMs.
I haven't DM'd him in a long time, obviously.
He didn't respond, obviously. I'm sure he didn't even see it. But like, we had a history of DMs where like me and JD would just talk like, how you doing, man? How's everything going? Oh, great. But just buddies, because we went out to dinner. And I got whiskey drunk, and I said something like, so were you full of shit when we had dinner, or did you just become full of shit? What the fuck, man? And I'm never going to get a response, but I genuinely want to know. And there's part of me that, because he was so cool to us, thinks that maybe he will respond and be like, Corey, here's the deal. But it's so weird having a DM history with the vice president of the United States.
I know fucking, well, I mean, you know him too, but I'm saying, it's like, I have a past with two vice presidents.
Al Gore,
and Al Gore, my boy, by the way, my close personal friend, Al Gore, total G, but like, everybody knows.
We've hung out with two vice presidents. And yet we're one missed gig away from squalor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyways.
Listen, I got one. Are you ready to start your thing? Do you want to start your thing?
I want you to do something.
Okay. If you want me to do it, I've got one more thing, and then you'll start yours. I wanted to ask.
I'm going to talk about Beethoven, by the way, for everybody that wants to tease.
Because we just had a break 15 minutes ago, so we'll take another one in a minute, then you can do Beethoven. So I just want to ask generally how you feel about Vincent van Gogh.
Insane person.
Sure.
I used to have a bit.
You a fan? Does he hit for you? You did used to have a bit.
He
you
did.
Want to share that?
Yeah, I would love to share that bit. The bit was how dating is weird nowadays. Like you swipe left and you swipe right, and you can just get pussy. And back in the day, you actually had to like call a person, and sometimes their parents would answer, and like that wasn't good. And then before that, like, how did you send dick pics? It's like, did you draw it? And then the crescendo of it was like, if Vincent van Gogh liked you, he'd just cut his dick off and throw it at you because he cut his ear off. But as far as does he hit for me, all of my knowledge about Vincent van Gogh is from his paintings, which I absolutely love. Starry Night was him, correct?
Yeah.
Starry Night. I love Starry
obviously.
Night. I love that style. And also one of the most harrowing and depressing but also beautiful episodes of Doctor Who is when Doctor Who goes back in time and meets Vincent van Gogh and brings Vincent van Gogh back to the future to show him how much he's appreciated in current time, and it like breaks him, like it breaks. He's like, and that really like struck me, because as someone who suffers from mental health problems, obviously Vincent van Gogh suffered from mental health problems, and I hate that someone of such cultural value felt like he wasn't enough, and that makes me sad.
Well, it wasn't just, I mean, at least my understanding of the story, because that's what most people know about him, and me too. It's like, because I'm also not an expert, but like at all, but I agree. Starry Night hits for me. His self-portrait hits for me. He's like, I like his style and everything, but he's a classically tragic figure because, yes, he suffered with mental illness. He cut his own ear off and all that. And very importantly, as I've always heard it anyway, he died not ever knowing that he hit for people.
Right.
Like,
died penniless.
he only became a fucking legend, which is also, dude, in the world of art, too, to become like that level of hitting is crazy.
It's
like
unreal.
People talk about him in the same breath as fucking Picasso and Michelangelo.
Well,
and
as you
like
should.
That.
I would say.
I know, but I'm saying,
and it didn't
reach
matter.
that level, but only after you died and you don't experience any of it. Is just so brutal.
Bad.
So
it's bad.
But anyway, none of that. This ain't got nothing to do with none of that. I'm just saying. So obviously, Vinny Van G don't not hit for you. Why would he? But this is about to make him hit for you, though. You guys are kindred spirits in at least one particular way.
Me and him?
Yes, you and him. Because I found this story about Vinny Van G when he was in art school or taking an art class from a local master. His last name was Siebert. He was given the assignment in this class to draw like the Venus de Milo, like the classic sculpture Venus de Milo,
have an arm.
Draw it. Yeah, right, to draw it. And instead, he drew a torso of a Flemish peasant woman, right?
Titties?
Not Venus de Milo, but, peasant looking, looking kind of dumpy, looking, she got curves and shit is what I'm saying. Like, not Venus de Milo. And the professor or whatever, Siebert, got very upset with him because he defied his artistic guidance. He's like, this was not the assignment. And he goes over there and he starts like taking his pencil or whatever and just ripping up Van Gogh's drawing and all this stuff. It's like, you defy, you're insubordinate, whatever else. And that made Vincent van Gogh flip the fuck out and start screaming at him. And he got dragged out while screaming at him, "You clearly do not know what a woman really looks like. God damn it. A real woman must have hips, buttocks, a pelvis in which she can carry a baby." So I'm saying this dude, Vincent van Gogh, he liked big butts and he cannot lie. If his anaconda ain't want none. Can I got buns, hun?
I don't know why I would ever think this.
Thick.
I don't know why I would ever think this. But when you first set this up, I thought that you were going to be like, here's where you and Vincent van Gogh overlap artistically.
Unappreciated geniuses.
And you were just like, he liked fat bitches.
I mean, yes, that is what I just did. But like, that is an endearing story.
It's a great story because he's like, hey, well, first off, like, fuck you. What do you want me to do? Draw exactly Venus de Milo? That's already been done.
It's
Let me
already
do
a
my
thing.
interpretation of it.
But it's also
that's
like,
what
you know,
art
this is what real people look like.
Exactly. That's what art is. Like,
I see the beauty in real people, and it's like, it's just,
why don't we just, hey, if you want me to do this, why don't we just all trace it, you fucking piece of shit? You know what? This is why you're a teacher, and I'm Vincent van Gogh, and I will live on forever, and you will be only a footnote in this story of how hard I fucking hit. But it is brutal. Like, you know, I feel like modern day types, these people got they got a little bit of their flowers in life, but like I look at him the same way I look at like a Greg Giraldo and a Mitch Hedberg, where like obviously they were both on their way. They were both on their way up, but like their true genius was not explored until they died. And if they could see what happened,
Greg Giraldo, I mean, yeah, you're right about both, but Mitch Hedberg at the time he died was like,
no, he was mega.
He was real hot shit.
He was,
especially amongst young people, college
people
kids
weren't writing essays
like
about him yet.
No, right? He wasn't right. Yes, he wasn't looked at like he wasn't like studied and shit for the genius.
Because I'm sure that there were people that.
But Giraldo, dude, and I mean, obviously Giraldo also hit, but but not like he should have, or not like he should have.
And now
he did
now
like
he's a god
and stuff and everything. He was on TV, but like now people are like, that dude's one of the best of all time.
He's one of the best of all time.
He was not treated that way while he was alive.
And he definitely, I promise you, he didn't feel that way. Like he didn't feel that way. And if he could see now, of course you can't put the genie back in the bottle, but like that shit is always super sad to me. Like, it's always just sad when someone either takes their own life or dies because of their choices. But like the Van Gogh one, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen that episode of Doctor Who, but like I would, Doctor Who episodes are very episodic, meaning that like you can just dip, you don't have to watch the whole series to it.
No, I know. Me and the boys have watched some here and there. I haven't watched that one because I'm aware of it. I thought it sounded too, I didn't think it would hit for them necessarily.
It wouldn't hit for them, but it would hit for you. It would hit for you. It's very beautiful. I mean, he brings him back to present, and like the actor that plays him, I mean, he looks just like him or whatever, but like just watching him understand that, oh, I did it. You know what I mean? Like I really did it. Like it's so moving and tragic because he has to go back in time and still die. Otherwise, none of that matters. But that's always just, super sad. And that happens a lot in the art world.
But on the plus side, he liked them thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
He sure did.
Bad hits. All right. We'll take another break right here and then come back, and then Cho's going to hit y'all with a segment on another master who I am realizing right now, I don't know for sure, but I assume was very celebrated in his time.
Yes.
Not a posthumous thing at all. Mr. Ludwig van Beethoven, also great big dog. All right, we'll be right back.
Yep.
All right, I want to talk about Factor, y'all. It's one of my favorite sponsors to talk about because I like meals that hit. Surprise, surprise, looking at me, but it's true. I do. I like meals that hit that also are convenient. That's like among the best combinations where food is concerned, if you ask me. All right, and Factor does it better than anybody. All right, so if you're ready to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor's got chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, ready to heat and eat in only 2 minutes. You can fuel up right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Also, you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks when you use Factor's keto meals. That claim is based on a randomized controlled clinical trial. Just so you know, using Factor Keto, keep in mind your results will vary depending on how much exercise you're doing and what the rest of your diet is, obviously. Factor has 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, so it's easy to pick meals that are tailored to your personal goals. They got preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or the aforementioned Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and even more add-ons. So reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. I've said before, and I'll say it again because it's true, I learned a Factor through them sponsoring the podcast, and they sent us a box Fake Lord bless them. And then I ain't ever looked back. I didn't even have to order a subscription. My wife did it without even telling me. She spends her money like that, and that's fine. That's her right. But it hit for her so hard, she ordered a subscription to it before even talking to me about whether it hit for me, but it did. The reason I love Factor so much personally is that I work from home when I'm not on the road. I like to cook. I enjoy cooking, but like lunchtime during the day, oftentimes I'm working with 10, 15 minutes maybe. I don't have time to rustle something up, but I don't want to eat garbage either. So Factor has things that are actually good for you, that are quick and convenient at the same time, and taste good, which, you know, fat kid me, I can't do without. So I'm a big devotee of Factor. I love what they're doing over there. They got all kinds of great meals. They got this jalapeno cheddar chicken that I'm a big fan of. CHO has mentioned recently, you can get meals where instead of rice, it's cauliflower rice, which actually really hits for me. And I didn't even know that until I tried it, but it hits for me because it's like rice, but you know, ain't no carbs and stuff. It's like magic, baby. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/FactorPodcast and use the code FactorPodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FactorPodcast at factormeals.com/FactorPodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Give it a shot. It'll hit for you. Try Factor.
I would also like to mention that their juices hit. Try Factor. Have better sex with BlueChew. BlueChew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, BlueChew is offering a combo so strong, it'll knock your socks off. That same socks that you hang on the door when you're using BlueChew. And by the way, it'll knock your neighbor's socks off. You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you're going to be making. BlueChew Max has arrived. My God, I'm a bit scared. And it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of BlueChew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you're going to receive your prescription within days. And by the way, it comes in a discreet package. BlueChew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. And that discreet package means there's no visits to the doctor's office. You don't have to have awkward conversations with the pharmacist that I went to high school with and edited the school paper with. And like, listen, I've been using it for a long time. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, Corey, does it work? And I'm like, man, it makes my dick harder than admitting my wife was right about the show The Queen's Gambit. You know what I mean? Great show. Highly recommend it. It was wonderful. Didn't think it would be. All right. BlueChew won't stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house. That's the mission. Everyone could use an extra hand. With BlueChew, you get an extra leg. Now I'm saying more horsepower. Enough said. Here is a real comment someone had said about BlueChew. I cut diamonds with my tip, dude. You could be missing out on the best sex of your life. And they say there's nothing sexier than confidence, and BlueChew can help give you the confidence where it counts. And we can all relate to wanting to feel more confident, especially in the bedroom, and BlueChew can help. Make life easier by getting harder, and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of BlueChew free. Am I reading that correctly? Yeah, I am. Free. When you use the promo code POA, all you got to do is pay $5 shipping. That's promo code POA. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank BlueChew for sponsoring this podcast. And also, Trae,
get you a new dick.
Get you a new dick. That's okay.
I'm staring at my dick.
That's okay. Yeah, you'll have
Wishing it hit harder.
Yeah, well, it can. Just get BlueChew.
That's right. All right, and we're back. Yeah. LVB, Ludwig van Beethoven. He's got them symphonies and stuff.
Sure does.
A hits for people. He's a genius. There's a whole talk about, like, he's like famously deaf, but he, like, not always, right? And he like went.
It happened later.
It happened later on. Yeah, right. I think some people think that he was like mostly deaf while hitting that hard at music, but that was a later development. Other than that, I don't know a lot about him. I know the Fifth. I like the Fifth.
Oh, the Fifth hits so hard.
Fifth does hit. I know other ones too, but is Flight of the Bumblebee him?
that it may come up. I don't remember. I have 25 pages of research.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
And maybe I can't remember because I get a lot of them. Like I get him and Mozart and a lot of their concertos like confused. But I would like to say
it is not. It's a Russian guy.
I'm going to
Nikolai
start
Rimsky-Korsakov.
I've never thought to do this because in my brain I was like, oh, this is a comedy podcast. Who gives a shit? But I would like to start citing my sources just so that people can like go research further or whatever. Like I do spend a lot of time researching this stuff. I take it very seriously. And so I would like to say a lot of this is coming from the Encyclopedia Britannica, obviously Wikipedia, and some letters that I wrote, which were just literally letters and primary accounts of Beethoven's life that you can read online. And I read in the entirety this book right here, as you can see, Beethoven by Maynard Solomon. I've been wanting to do this episode for a while, but I wanted to get through that book first. So a lot of that comes from this. So as you stated earlier, a little bit about Beethoven. Ludwig von Beethoven was born 1770, died 1827. He was a German composer and a pianist, widely regarded as one of the greatest figures in Western music, and his life sort of bridged the transition between the like classical and romantic eras. And he had a lot of innovations in symphony, sonata, quartet forms. He was a big improviser, which was not a huge thing back then, revolutionized music. And despite he had a lot of personal struggles, most famously his progressive loss of hearing. But as we all know, he produced some of the most enduring compositions in history. So 1770, he's born. Ludwig von Beethoven was born in Bonn, which was then the Electorate of Cologne. He was baptized on December 17th, 1770. His exact birth date is unconfirmed, like a lot of people back then, but he was likely born on December 16th on account of he was baptized on December 17th. Comes from a huge musical family. His grandfather, Ludwig, who he was named after, was a respected Kapellmeister. And I had to re-look that up. A Kapellmeister is a leader of a chamber ensemble or orchestra, which is attached to the German court. So much like when we talked about Mozart, he was like, his grandfather was one of the dudes that just like hit for the German king or whatever. Like he would, you know, he was like the house musician for them or whatever. And his father, Johann, was a tenor in that court chapel and a music teacher. And Johann, his big plan was he wanted Beethoven to be a child prodigy like Mozart, because Mozart was, you know, before this.
So that total theater parent.
Very theater parent.
It's funny. I think never would I think this about Beethoven, but hearing this, I'm kind of like, I wonder if he was tortured and like, not literally tortured by his father. I mean, like forced into doing a thing. It sucked all the fun out of it for him. You know, the way that like theater parents often are, or like sports parents. They're like, I care more about you hitting at this than I care about you as
having
a child.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No, that's exactly what pretty much happened. I mean, like I was about to make the comparison of like, it was very much like a whiplash type thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no matter what Beethoven wanted to do, it's like, no, you've got to practice for hours. Like every day, you've got to practice for hours, often making his fingers fucking bleed. As a relatively
new dad, and I know what you're going to say, but what do you think about that?
I'm not for it. I mean,
Me neither.
So here's my thing with Bane. He seems to be taking a liking to golf. Like he really likes picking up the clubs and putting it behind the ball and trying. And I'm going to encourage that. But my only real goal is I want him to like it so me and him can have an activity together. Now,
beautiful.
Now,
lovely.
if he goes, I want to be the greatest at this, then I will give him every opportunity to do that. I will get him coaches. I will play with him every day.
Right.
But if there comes a day where he goes, Dad, I don't really want to go to practice today. I kind of want to go play video games with my buddy. I'll go, you go play video games with your buddies.
Yeah.
Because
some
you're
of them
a child.
Like, there's plenty of examples of guys who have like who would say, scoreboard, motherfucker. They point to the results, right?
Like Tiger Woods' dad.
Tiger Woods' dad also, like, just off the top of my head, like Tua Tagovailoa, his dad, like they've both like said in interviews, because they don't think anything's weird about it, that his dad would like basically beat the shit out of him if he didn't hit at a football game. And like
Michael Jackson,
Raiders draft pick Todd Marinovich, it was a whole documentary about the way he was raised and like how insane it was. And it's like, first of all, we don't hear all the stories about when it don't work. When somebody's treated like that and they're a middling D3 linebacker that doesn't, we don't ever hear those stories. That's obviously way more fucked up.
They shoot their dad and then themselves.
But even the ones that like it does work, it always bothered me that it's like the lunatic parents in those stories I know feel very justified because they're like, no, I did this. And it's like, I've just always been like, but bro, at what cost?
At what cost? Because like, I love Tiger Woods, and like, there's part of me that is so thankful for Earl Woods because he made this kid hit for me so hard. Like, Tiger Woods is without question my favorite athlete of all time. It's not even close. And I love Michael Jordan. I love Chipper Jones, but Tiger Woods, to me, like, being at the age I was, watching his ascendance, and also realizing that it's true. If Earl hadn't have done that, Tiger would not have been that guy. And so I appreciate it. But Tiger is also very clearly a flawed and broken man. Right. And it's great that he's achieved all those things, but there's a version of Tiger Woods that could have just been a happy guy. And I don't think that he is. I think he is now that he has kids, you can start seeing joy in him. And it makes me really happy when I see him in press conferences now. Like, he's sort of lost that. Every time he was in a press conference, it was always like, I'm here to win. I'm here to blah, blah, blah. And now, like, he's like, my son's caddying for me, and I'm really enjoying watching my son. He's, he just won the amateur. And Tiger don't treat his son like Earl treated him. And I can see some happiness in him, and I like that. But like with my son, I'm never going to push him into anything. I'm going to just see what he wants, and I'm going to nurture that. Like, dude, I love football, and this is what's been really difficult for me because I love football. Therefore, I want my son to love watching football with me. But where's the line between he goes, I want to play it, and I don't really want him to play it because like he's not going pro. So he's just going to be knocking his brain around for whatever. Now, if he tells me, Daddy, I want to play it, I will let him and I will whatever. But like, if my fucking son's dream is to bag groceries at Kroger, I'm fine with that. Like, I want my son to be, here's all, in my opinion, you should want your kid to be happy as fuck.
Right.
That's
Amen,
it.
Brother. All
That's
right.
it.
Back to Johann and Ludwig. Yes, I'm with you.
So his early music training, his first music teacher was his own father, who was a very harsh instructor. He would drill him late into the night, like make this 9-year-old stay up till 3 a.m. until he got every single note correct. And then he began studying with Christian Gottlob Neef, who was a court organist in Bonn, who recognized that he's got, this amazing talent. And under his guidance, Beethoven published his first composition in 1783 at 12, which, compared to Mozart, actually, that's a little late, but still, I think well in line to be a wunderkind, and at 12, Beethoven was already assisting Neef as a deputy organist, and a deputy organist, by the way, is an assistant to the principal organist at a church, a cathedral, or a court chapel. So basically what that involves is anytime that dude couldn't be there, Beethoven stepped in. You know what I mean? Like if the main church organist wasn't there as a kid, as a 12-year-old, he would also play continuo, which is a form of musical accompaniment. Basically, he kept time. Like Beethoven was there to just sort of be it would be like a rhythm guitarist. A rhythm guitarist. Yeah, he would be like a rhythm guitarist where like they're off doing their thing, but Beethoven's whole deal is just to keep it in 3/4.
He's holding the beat down.
He's holding the beat.
Fucking jam.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I didn't know that was a thing in this era of that type of music, but yeah, I get it.
I didn't either, but that was what he was good at. Like at 12, he could just keep time and like make sure that everybody was on, whatever. So at 14, he's appointed to the continuo player for the Bonn Opera. So same thing that he was doing at the church, but this was for like an actual opera house. So like this is a really big deal and a crazy young age for that position. So his first public performance, and this is going back a little bit, but his first public performance was in March 1778 at 7 years old. And Johann, his dad advertised him as 6 because it was very important. Like that mattered to him. Even 1 year, he was like, no, he needs to be a wunderkind, and 7 is a little bit too old. He needs to be 6.
Too. It's like these guys, putting their fucking 16-year-old in the Little League World Series or whatever the age cutoff it, faking birth certificates and shit just to get them in there.
Right. So Beethoven's, it didn't instantly make him a European sensation quite like Mozart. However, it did establish him locally as a prodigy. Like by his early teens, he had a big reputation as an accomplished keyboard player that was adept at improvisation. He could just sort of go, you know what I mean? Like you throw him up there like, hey, we got 30 minutes to fill, go. And he's not necessarily doing a concerto. He's just, whatever. But his home life was super troubled. His Johann, who was his dad, who was like, it don't say that he was beating the shit out of him, but like, I just assume he was beating the shit out of him. He was also a huge fucking drunk, which got worse after his mother, Beethoven's mother, Maria Magdalena, died, which she died of tuberculosis, which everybody did, I guess, back then.
Everybody coughed to death back then.
Coughed to death.
Yeah.
Consumption.
Maria Magdalena was his mama spaghetti?
I believe his mama was spaghetti.
Mama spaghetti. And Daddy Spetzel, mama spaghetti.
Daddy Spetzel, mama spaghetti. And there's like this, and I don't know, like, I think this might be just something some people say, but there's a lot of people that are like, Beethoven was black, right? Like, Beethoven was actually a black person. They're like, look at his nose. He's got a wide bridge nose. And I'm like, that's a little racist to,
So what's the story there?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
This just
Most
just
people
crossed
that say
my
that,
mind.
what do they say? That like his actual father was
a black guy, or he was a bastard
or
son,
a mixed guy. That
okay, And I again, this isn't even in my notes. I just happened to remember that while we were talking. But so his mom dies, and now he's 16 years old, and he's like,
he real good at keeping the beat. Had a lot of rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
And improv, that's jazz, dude.
Right? Yeah,
that's jazz.
Yeah, right.
So his mom dies, so he's 16 years old, and Beethoven's now basically the de facto head of the household because his dad's a fucking drunk, and he's got these 2 younger brothers that he's kind of got to take care of, and his dad's like forced to retire from his job because he just showed up half drunk all the time, but they were kind enough to give him half of his pension, which was paid directly to Beethoven because they were like, we can't trust the dad with all this shit, and we know that the kid is the one actually supporting the family, so he's getting half the pension, and he takes the assumption of all the family duties, and basically a lifelong responsibility to taking care of his family because they never hit because their dad ignored them so that he could make the Beethoven into fucking Beethoven,
Okay, so his younger brothers didn't have to do nothing. Like
not
they didn't get treated that way, and they didn't do anything that hit or were expected to hit. They were just ignored entirely.
From my research, it was basically that Beethoven showed this skill, and their father was like,
"This one hits.
This one hits.
I don't even need these other ones."
Exactly, and therefore,
y'all go eat bugs. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly, and therefore, when Beethoven's mom dies, it's like, I have to take care of my brothers because my drunk father is not going. He don't give a shit about them,
Right.
So
this guy sounds like a real peach, man. This Johann Beethoven, Johann von Beethoven.
So here's a little narrative sidebar that I've pieced together. Beethoven actually had a brush with Mozart. So in early 1787, the 16-year-old Beethoven, who this is right around the time his mom dies, and he's having to figure shit out. He travels to Vienna hoping to study with Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And there is this famous, though very possibly just apocryphal story that Beethoven played for Mozart during this visit, and Mozart initially was just like, that don't hit. Like that's fucking bullshit. Because he was playing from a prepared piece. And then supposedly Mozart was like, don't play your shit. Like just show me something. Like just fucking go, you know? And so Beethoven improvised, and Mozart was like, now that shit right there.
Yeah.
That shit right there, cuz like that. So basically it's like, it would be like if someone went on Sway in the morning and did their bars, and everyone was like, we've heard you do that in a cipher. Like, we're going to throw another beat up, and you just got to freestyle. And he did it. And that made Mozart be like, okay, you the fucking, you know, the real deal. And that prompted Mozart to apparently remark to several bystanders, like, keep your eyes on him, because one day he is going to give the world something to talk about. And shortly after this, Beethoven had to rush back to Bonn because, well, actually, and I'm going back in time here, he had to rush back to Bonn because of his mother's failing health, which cut short all of his potential lessons with Mozart. Like, he'd gone there to like butt with Mozart, and then his mom died, and so he couldn't butt with Mozart no more. So it don't hit. So
neither part of that hits, you know, in my opinion.
No, you know,
mom dying, not getting to butt with Mozart. Well, two equally not hitting things.
Do you think moms dying back then was just as sad as moms dying now?
You know, actually, I don't know. I've often thought about that. Just like, not just moms, but like kids and people in general. Just like in my head, I'm always like, hell, everybody died all the goddamn time back then. They didn't even hardly give a shit.
Right.
But, you know, I don't think that's actually how it was. I'm sure you still, you still loved people. You still had bonds and shit. But, but do I think
it was just more expected.
Yeah, I think, obviously it still didn't hit, but I don't think it was like it is today, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like
probably not.
You went into every day of your life back then assuming that everyone you loved could die at any second. Like,
and yourself.
Like, not to be morbid, but like, I don't assume Bane will die because he's a healthy child and we have health care and all that stuff.
Right.
And I
feel, or if you go to your mom's house and she's like, she just does that, you're not going to think anything about it. But back then you're like, this is it.
This is it. It's over.
Coughing. There's no coming back from coughing.
I'm going to have to raise these kids or my dad's going to shove a hot poker up their ass.
Yeah.
So his influences in education during his Bonn years, he was exposed to the works of Bach, as you are, Handel, and contemporary composers, and he played viola in the court. So like, he's a man of many instruments. He in the court orchestra, that is, which familiarized him with operas by Mozart, Gluck. He also befriended this fella named Anton Trae, who was a young flautist and violinist in the orchestra, also the nephew of the orchestra's conductor. So nepotism, you know, that's never not been a thing. This dude was a Czech-born composer, theorist, musical theorist, that is, and flautist, and best known for his innovative wind quintets and influential musical theory writings, which this led to forging connections with a lot of peers who would later become noted composers. So anytime you're out there and you hear a wind quintet, and you're thinking to yourself, who do I owe?
That's innovative. Yeah.
That's innovative. Who do I owe this to? That is Anton Trae.
Yeah, I love it because I also, you know, I have a particular dismay for derivative wind quintets. Anytime I hear a wind quintet, then I feel like it's just uninspired.
Can't stand it.
Makes me sick at my stomach, you know. But true innovation with a wind quintet, you know, euphoria. What better pleasure is there? So thank you, Antoine Rocasso, or whatever, you know.
Antoine Rocasso, yeah, you got it right.
Nailed it. Yeah.
But this, like I said, this led to Beethoven forging connections with a lot of people who would later become noted composers themselves. In 1790, Beethoven composed two patriotic cantatas, the Woo 87 and the Woo 88. I don't know if I'm saying that right because it's capital W, lowercase o, capital O, and then so
that makes it sound like it's an acronym or something, but I don't. But that,
but why would I look that up?
Well, also, why would they wouldn't put it without periods in it? But it's weird. I don't think I've literally ever seen that before. Meaning like capitalization in a formal document that works like that. You know what I mean?
And I gotta so please forgive me, everyone, but when I'm doing these notes, and this often happens where I'll get all these notes and then I'll run through them, and then as I'm reading them, I realize like, fuck, I need more on that, and so I'll look it up and then I'll add it, and then it ends up being 97 pages long, and sometimes I have to go, well, you know what, I just won't know this. On the deaths of Emperor Joseph II and the ascension of Leopold II, these early works, though not performed in his lifetime, showed Beethoven through and through in style, according to a later assessment by composer Johann Brahms. And patrons really started to take notice of this, like Beethoven's talent. It not like what you were talking about with Van Gogh, like it didn't go unnoticed. Visiting musicians like really were like this guy. Like I think it's like people in Greenwich Village who saw Bob Dylan. They were like, fuck, man, like this guy, you know, he might be the thing. There was a great composer, Joseph Haydn. He passed through Bonn in 1790. And he met a young Beethoven, and Beethoven showed him a cantata he had written, and he was like super impressed, and Haydn agreed to take him on as a pupil. So in 1792, with arrangements made from his patron, Count Waldstein, Beethoven moved to Vienna to study with Haydn, and Waldstein famously wrote to him, through uninterrupted diligence, you will receive Mozart's spirit from Haydn's hands, which was a prophetic endorsement of Beethoven's destiny to inherit and expand classical tradition. And I would like to take this moment to reiterate, we talked about this a bit during the Casanova episode, but like, you know, we both have a Patreon, you know, yours is patreon.com/Trae Crowder. Mine is welovecorey.com. But this is like, you know, that is such a storied thing where dudes like Beethoven, there would be people who would be like, you don't even have to give me anything. Here's money to hit because you hit, and like
patron of the arts.
They're a patron of the arts because they're like,
benefactor,
you don't need to waste your time at a job. You need to just sit there and fucking play your ass off, right? And here's another little narrative sidebar that I've put together. This is about the young prodigy's regimen. So Ludwig's father, Johann, determined to mold another Mozart. He subjected him to a strict practice regime. Neighbors actually recounted the small boy standing on a bench to reach the keyboard, sobbing while his father drilled him relentlessly. And Johann even organized a little public recital for Ludwig in 1778. Touting him as a musical wunderkind based on nothing. He was just like, he is, you know, whatever. And this intense upbringing, it left a lot of psychological scars. But as we were talking about with Tiger Woods, also an iron will. Beethoven rarely spoke of his childhood except to remark that the hardship forged his character, which this would, this is a theme that would be echoed in his music, triumph over struggle and stuff like that. So he was, basically a dude who was like, yeah, my life was fucked up, but as you said, scoreboard, you know what I mean? Like I hit, but he probably,
I think it's easy to, realize now looking, but that's that can be a coping mechanism or a sort of rationalization or whatever of being like, do you know what I mean? Being like, of being like, well, but hey, I hit, it's fine. Like not wanting to be like, yeah, it was fucked up, or to feel sorry for yourself or want other people to feel sorry for you, whatever. And then so you say, I'm just saying, him having outwardly that opinion on it don't make it any less fucked up that it happened or
no,
when it happened.
I agree. I think that's just someone who wants to indulge themselves in how much they hit and don't want to admit that it was a bad idea. Like,
right. Or just
like,
leave it behind them and just not dwell on it and just be like, fuck it. I hit. It's fine. Fuck
for
it.
sure. Because like,
that.
for sure, man, because like, you know, I like, obviously I'm not Beethoven. Me and you neither are Beethoven, but we have good careers and I think people respect us and stuff like that. But like, my dad didn't beat me into wanting, like he gave my dad gave me a great work ethic. Like he taught me.
The other version of it is, I mean, it could be like a Stockholm syndrome thing, which is probably the wrong word since we're talking about a parent and their child, but that basically like that he does believe that, but that he was like, in a way, sort of brainwashed into believing it or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Why would he know any different? He didn't know how other children were raised. Yeah,
being like, no, my dad was right all those years. It's like, that don't mean it's true, but it also don't mean that he doesn't fully believe that it's true.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, again, all the shit his dad always told him, I did all that to make you this and look at you, you are this. And, you know, and he goes, I mean, shit, I guess he's right. I am this.
I mean,
you know?
I just, you know, I'm of two minds on it because like, you know, my dad, for as many disagreements as we've had, and we certainly don't see eye to eye on everything, like my dad played college baseball. He was a very good baseball player, and he got me into baseball early, but he also let me just have fun playing baseball. Like he was my coach, and like he didn't fucking hit me if I missed a ground ball or whatever. And like he made sure that I had a good time. And then later when I decided I didn't really want to play baseball, he didn't get upset about it. And like, my dad instilled in me, like, I think I'm a very successful person. You know, I could be more successful, but I'm a very successful person. And a lot of that is because my dad, all he did was he instilled a good work ethic in me. And that was not by beating me over the head with it. That was by example. Like I saw my dad work really hard to get what he had. And I realized like I have to do that. And dad always told me, and it's very cliche, but dad always told me, he's like, anything worth doing is worth doing well, you know? And I took that to heart, and I think I'm successful because of that. And I think I'm happier than if my dad had have fucking beat me with a cat of nine tails in order to make me into some fucking, I don't know, Wall Street dude. Like, you know, like, I'm successful and happy, and I think there's a lot of people that are successful and not happy, and that's just like a bummer. And I'm sure that was a lot of Beethoven shit, but you weren't allowed to talk about your feelings back then.
Absolutely not. Straight to the dungeons.
So do we need to get out of here?
I got in like 7 minutes. Do you want to do some airmail or?
Yeah,
or no?
We'll pause here. When we come back next week, we'll do Vienna and his early career, which is 1792 to 1802, and then I should be able to wrap it up. So yeah, we'll do some airmail, and then
Vienna, famous for its sausages.
And my favorite Billy Joel song. You ever heard that song Vienna Waits for You?
I've definitely heard it, but I think we've talked about this before. For whatever reason, my dad didn't really fuck with Billy Joel that much, and so Billy Joel's kind of a blind spot for me.
Can I send you a playlist?
Yeah, sure. Because obviously I've heard a lot of Billy Joel songs. I just didn't grow up with it like some other classic shit from back in the day.
I think
so. It's just kind of missing from my upbringing.
I might get made fun of for this, but I think one of the greatest party albums of all time, like if you're just having a house party and you want to throw on this vinyl, is Glass Houses by Billy Joel, because it rises the whole time. You know what I mean? And it's fun. Billy Joel is he's sort of my like it's like Billy Joel and Jimmy Buffett are the two dudes I get made fun of the most for like really loving, but I'm like also Scoreboard. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Subject line: with love from a fellow author. Dear Corey and Trae, you can call me Stephanie L, as my last name confuses people, even though it's not all that difficult to pronounce. It's just that it's Croatian and people confuse it with Polish and put too many itches into it. First off, I'd like to say thank you for the vote of confidence.
This itch here.
Yeah.
Listen at this itch.
Listen at this itch. I'm a longtime dollop/pastime/we're here to help listener, and that's how I found you two and your podcast, which I am now binging like the Minnesota-raised, California-aged white woman I am. I wanted to write you both for a while to tell you how much your podcast has meant to me. These are some seriously dark times nationally and personally, as me and my husband navigate raising an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old with all the shit that has happened and is still happening. Listening to POA has legit saved me from giving in to depression numerous times. Wow, that's heavy. I want to say all that up front to make sure to tell you how much I respect the fuck out of both of you before I drop what might be an unwanted part of this email. I'm a writer too. In fact, I've been a writer and editor for 25 years, and I've published 12 books, most of them for kids, picture books and novels and such. So it's with all the love that I humbly offer this edit of Corey's recent and legit fantastic poem. Oh, Trae's going to hate this.
Loving it already.
I just wanted to show how smooth out the beat. I just wanted to show how to smooth out the beat a touch, and also demo a way to showcase whiz-bang finish that might, arguably, this is just my opinion, of course, hit harder when you hold off on the dick mention at the very end. So here's my poem that she has rewritten. And this poem, by the way, I'll tell you, the title of it was called "Small Peckered Politicians" that I wrote.
Is this the rewritten version of it you're about to read?
This is the rewritten version.
All right.
They pulled down their pants and put them up on the table, itching to punch my TV, but somehow I was able to take a few breaths and come back to Zen to save my hoarse voice and instead use a pen. But I'll get carpal tunnel if I write all my feelings about these arrogant men and their criminal dealings. And I have better uses for each of my fingers, but the longer I sit, the longer it lingers. That feeling you get getting beat by a team when you know that you're better and you just want to scream, but your coach is unconscious and your fans are all fighting. And then up ahead comes the thunder and lightning. Then she puts, the above stanza was perfect, by the way. No notes on the measure or beat. And the game should be called for the safety of others, but there's no sign of pointing to where we should take cover. They are a magnifying glass, and we are the ants, waiting for angry old men to return their dicks to their pants. You can tell me to fuck off if you want, but I had to scratch that editor's itch in me. All the love and chicken, Stephanie L. That was my poem, and she didn't change much to it. And but the changes she made did hit. Did that poem hit for you, Trae?
Yes, it did. Thanks, Stephanie.
I wrote that.
No, Stephanie did great. Stephanie, was a good poem.
She only
Stephanie. I liked it.
She only made a couple
massive alterations that she made.
Only made a couple.
Basically,
edits.
Rewrote the whole thing. Made it a hit.
Only made a couple edits.
Yeah. But no, it's funny. Very, very smooth, by the way. Very smooth way of sliding one of your original poems into the episode this week.
I did not vet that email. I just saw the subject line from a fellow author to another.
Yes.
And I thought she was about to praise our book, so I was like, okay, cool.
I kind of wish that I didn't, but I know you well enough to know that's true. Like, I believe you. I know that that's true. It would hit hard for me if that wasn't true, but no. I do believe you.
No, yeah, like I literally just thought like, oh, she's about to praise like round here and over yonder, so I'm definitely gonna read that. Oh, okay, here we go. Subject line: voice information for Corey saved my ass on my first release party. Hi, Corey. Years ago in Nashville, I was recovered from the crud. My voice could only get through 2 songs and then just cough. I asked a voice coach for advice, and she referred me to an ENT. He gave me an asthma inhaler, which, what the fuck? I didn't have asthma, but one hit off that thing, and I was able to get through my whole set, no problem, no coughing. It saved my ass. By the way, you may enjoy my song, Orange Tweeting Twat, that I tried to retire in 2020, but it's back on the set list. I enjoyed your rendition of The Humors of Whiskey. The song is fire. This is Dawn Oberg, and she's got a song called "Orange Tweeting Twat." You should look that up on YouTube. But that's would you have ever guessed that an asthma inhaler could help your like voice when you're
No, and further, based on what we've talked about before when it comes to doctors, I assume that any doctor I have ever or will ever go to would patently refuse to give me an asthma inhaler because my
Without
voice is out,
question.
because that's just how it goes for me. It's like, oh, you need something? Have you thought about just waiting and making, hoping it gets better? It's like, sure, I have an entire, range of medicines I could prescribe to you, but why would I do that? You're a vivacious young man. You'll be just fine.
Of course.
It's like, okay, so what was the copay for? What am I paying you for? Just to
just tell me I don't hit.
Concur that I don't hit, because I knew that. But
it's amazing how much money I've spent just to have a professional go.
Told,
you don't hit.
You're right. You don't hit. Yeah. Right,
yeah. And I'm like, my wife tells me that for free.
Yep. Absolutely.
Where are you going to be, Trae?
No, that is good. I would like. I wonder if you can go to a doctor and be like, my throat is currently completely fine, but every now and then I lose my voice because of my job. I heard there's an asthma inhaler for that. I'm fine right now. Will you still give me one?
Right. Because it's not like
I'm betting
asthma.
My doctor, or whatever doctor I end up at, will be like, absolutely not. In fact, I'm reporting you to the authorities.
But, you redneck. Yeah, I tell people that all the time. They're like, you should just ask your doctor about this. And I'm like, with my accent, I can't just be walking into the doctor and asking for pills.
Mm-hmm.
They know. Like, they see me coming a mile away. I'm peeing, by the way. Where are you gonna be, Trae, in the next couple weeks?
Well, I'll tell you that in just a second. But first, you guys are watching this on Friday, or actually, whenever you're listening to or watching this episode, go on YouTube and search for Trash Daddy, Trae Crowder. My new special is out now, Trash Daddy on YouTube.
Can we put clips? Can we put a clip at the end of this?
Yeah, I can send it. Probably, yeah.
Send Burns a clip so we can do that.
Anyway, so we'll throw a clip at the end of it for yuns to watch. But yeah, it's called Trash Daddy. It's on 800 Pound Gorilla's YouTube channel. But again, you just search my name in Trash Daddy. You can find it. And I will be putting links all over my social medias and stuff, so you'll find it. Also, I am touring, obviously. So just so everybody knows, because I've had some people ask me, I forget that not everyone knows this or how it works. If you come see me on the road, it will be completely different material than that special. Like, it's not the same at all. So if you watch one, you can still do the other. It's fine.
And you decide which one's worse.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And let me know. But I'll be, next weekend, I'm in the Northeast. I got the Wilbur in Boston. That's a big one. Also New Hampshire and Binghamton, New York. And then coming up in the near future, Northwest Arkansas. And I'll be in Knoxville and then Chattanooga with Drew and then Corey, respectively, on April 11th and 12th. Everybody's looking forward to those. So actually, the Knoxville show, I'm sorry, is 100% sold out. But I think there's still some left in Chattanooga if you hear this, and you can get down that way.
That makes me feel bad. I haven't done my job enough.
I think ours in Chattanooga is maybe just a little bit bigger, I think is all it is. But anyway,
it's the Walker Theater, right?
Bunch of other places. No, it's at a place called the Signal. You know where the Signal is?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, dude, yeah.
It's like a big event venue or something.
That's rad. I've never played there before. This will be fun.
So anyway, all those and many other dates coming up in the near future, go to TraeCrowder.com and check out the special and do that and come see me and make a hit. Thank you.
Well, I said this on Well Read, but I want to go ahead and say it again. I am super pumped for your special to come out, Trae, and I'm very proud of you because, as I mentioned on there, not touring with you for 2 years has been a relief in so many ways because it's hits to stay home and raise a baby, but also it means that I haven't really seen a lot of your new material. And as a fan of you, because I am a fan, we are best friends, but also, frankly, you know me, if I didn't like your stand-up, we wouldn't be friends.
That is true.
That's how I operate.
He's like that.
I am like that. I'm a big fan, and so I'm personally very excited to check out the new special, and so should you. By the way, yeah, come see me and Trae in Chattanooga, but also come see me March 20th in Atlanta, and I'm bringing my good buddies, Good Cop, Rad Cop, who, by the way, they just opened for Dropkick Murphys. Did I tell you that?
You did. That's very rad.
My boys are coming fucking up, and I am the first person to ever take them on the road. So I'm holding that. March 20th in Atlanta. Come see me and the greatest comedy band out there, Good Cop, Rad Cop. Those tickets are at CoreyRyanForrester.com. Also, if you want to read my poems, listen to my poems, my essays, my bonus podcast, all sorts of stuff, please go to WeLoveCorey.com. That is my Patreon-ish type thing. It is less than $1 a month, and it really supports me while I stay home and be a stay-at-home dad, and I think you'll appreciate all the work. Also, look forward next week. I have a new essay coming out for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it is about how AI is going to take away the meemaws from the meat and 3 restaurants. So it's very important to me. Other than that, stay fancy, motherfuckers, and we love you very much.
Skew. Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on airs.